Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today we're going to talk about using Infinity Watch in Arena without Adam Warlock. So I'm going to first talk to you a little bit about an update I've had since my prior video about the mirror match. I've linked that below, and I will just say that that I've gotten a ton of feedback ever since I put out that video in which I break down the Infinity Watch mirror match. And I've been getting a lot of suggestions from people, a lot of videos that I've watched. And so I've refined my technique a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some new things with the mirror match. Then we're going to go and I'm going to talk through the options for if you don't have Adam Warlock, what to use and how they change the fight. Okay, so first of all, one thing that I've been hearing from people is they've had some success using Moondragon, not as healer, which I use just because I use her in raids, or as striker, which, striker gives you that additional like triple tap synergy with Nebula because the Nebula assists, but they're actually using her as another skirmisher. So let's just bring her up as skirmisher and test her out. But what the idea was with her as skirmisher is that having her as a skirmisher gives her, you see this 50% focus from green level 5, all right? But let's try to upgrade her. Oh, wow, I need to get more blue. We'll get her all the way up because she now will be leaving 2 vulnerable. So let me get some ions here, and let's just do it because this is all for science here, right? All right, here we go. There we go. Barely enough to do it. Let's test her out. So Moondragon. Whoops. We're going to get Moondragon up to there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple things, some stuff that I'm doing here. Whoops. That makes this a little bit different. So first of all, this is the closest thing I can get here to a punch across. Hopefully this is a decent enough test. We got a 772K Infinity Watch that I'm attacking. This is the positioning I use. I'm linking below the T4 list that I've done and positioning in that guide that I made with Yeti. That's linked below. Against the AI, I think having Adam Warlock in the middle is the best lineup, so we'll try that here. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you, we're going to refine the strategy. I'm going to show you a little bit about how the strategy works and how this is going to be impacted by using another character. So here, the strategy is generally you want to get rid of Phyla-Vell first because Phyla-Vell provides that drain. So that what I do now, one of the changes now that I have from not only doing more testing but getting a lot of input from you guys is I do the special first on Gamora instead of, or on Nebula, instead of the ultimate. So you do this, you get all these counters now that come back. You see how they get rid of the dodges on the enemy, all these counters. And then I'm still focusing on Phyla-Vell, and I generally always use the basic until very late in the match on Gamora. So you may even want to not have the ult on Gamora, upgrade it if you don't use it enough. So then you use the basic here with Adam Warlock. You don't want to use the special yet because she's got immunity. All right, they're going hard on Gamora. All right, now you do that. You get the barrier up on your team. All right, and they're focusing on Adam Warlock because he's in the center, which is good. So then you use the slow on Gamora. So the idea is that having Skirmisher is going to potentially give more focus here. Don't see that here at all, right? Don't see that increased focus at all. So let's just go right after Phyla-Vell with the basic. All right, now we do the ultimate. And the idea is the evades here help us more to have the evades because Adam Warlock, you see that? He can't stun. My guys aren't stunned. His are stunned. And that's the idea here. All right, so now their Phyla-Vell's gone. They can't stun my team. They haven't stunned my team. And we're going to go after their Nebula now. All right, and then we'll keep doing that. We'll keep going after Nebula. They don't have Drain. Once Nebula is gone, it's basically game over because they won't have those assists. All right. And then, then you would just go after Moondragon next. All right, and this is an easy fight. So now, right, you could do this. It doesn't really matter at this point. I mean, generally, actually, I should have stunned Gamora there and then Adam Warlock, but it doesn't really matter. All right, so this fight is essentially over. And it took about 3 minutes. So now what we're going to do, we're going to quit out of this. And I'm going to talk about how this fight's different if you don't have Adam Warlock. So if you don't have Adam Warlock, first of all, I will just tell you this. Adam Warlock does better on defense than the other options. He just does. On offense, so any of the defensive options, people ask you, what should I do on defense? On defense, you could try to throw in a character like Doom, just because I think Doom is probably the best choice here, because on defense, if they make a mistake and they get Doom under 50% quickly, he can get an ability, energy, and speed bar and maybe ult and just screw things up. Because they can just kill him so fast. They can sometimes kill him faster than they realize and just that can cause a mistake. But on offense, there's a number of choices that all more or less work. I'm going to put Gamora in the middle. And then one option that people are using is Kestrel. So we'll start with Kestrel. This is probably the most popular option I've been hearing, but I don't think he's necessarily the best. So what people are doing with Gamora is, I keep seeing people saying that what they're doing is trying to erase the enemy Nebula. And that can be, I think, a very effective strategy if your ult is big enough to do it. So here's the issue, though. You can see I'm still going after Philavel. And it really depends, to me, on the size of the team. So here's the thing. This guy's Nebula is 7 red stars, right? Compared to Phyla, who's 5 red stars. You can see the relative star levels on the team. To me, you really want to go after a character that you can insta-kill. If you can't take her out on one, the goal is with Kestrel is to use the ult to immediately get her down. But see, the problem with going after Philavel is she has that immunity up. So let's try doing it again and try going after the Nebula, because Nebula doesn't have immunity. I'm quitting out of this. We're going to do a lot of science here today, guys. We're going to test stuff out and see how it works. So what I keep hearing from players who don't have Adam Warlock is that they've been using Kestrel. So we'll do that now. And we will try, and they use Kestrel to take out Nebula. We're going to try a couple other options shortly. All right, so now what we're going to do, so we won the coin flip this time. We're going to do the counters. And instead, we're going to go after Nebula. And I think that's really kind of what you need to do here, is if you are doing the strategy of going after Nebula first, I think you need to whittle her down unless your opponent's got a small Nebula, right? If your opponent like this has got a 7 red star Nebula, you need to make sure you get the kill. Because if you miss this kill and you don't have it become a 5v4, I think you're in trouble. Okay, because you're not this is the only, if you do this, this is the only chance you have to win it. Yeah, so I think you have to do that. That's the winning move. And now the enemy doesn't have the Nebula assists. So then you would go after Philavel and you would do, everything would proceed as normal. The difference would be the enemy doesn't have Nebula, you do. They do have Adam Warlock, and you just have to hope that your Kestrel is big enough to survive despite that. So here you go. So now I would just go after Philavel. There we go. Now I would do this. Actually, I should go in after Moondragon. That was a mistake, but I did see that. I did see that defense down, and I was like, well, I have a Kestrel, so I might as well try it. But ordinarily, I would go after Moondragon if you didn't have it. Okay, let's just erase. Didn't work. Oh, it did. All right, so you get it. this was an easy win with Kestrel instead of Adam Warlock. So we're going to try some other options. So one option I've been getting a lot of questions on lately is Captain Sam. All right. Some guy is like, trying to prove something. He punched up on me, whatever. Maybe get his name in a video or some lame thing. So let's take let's take Kestrel out and let's throw in Captain Sam. I've been getting so many questions about Captain Sam lately. All right, so let's try it out. So here, the rationale of Captain Sam is he's going to stay alive better than Kestrel because he's got so much blocks and, health and deflect and everything else. This is a 6 red star, otherwise completely maxed character here. So the idea is he's going to also feed ability energy to the rest of the team and speed bar, right? So that is very good. I mean, he's definitely got some great qualities. And look, Captain Sam is, one of, the very best characters in the game. I mean, I don't know whether he's in the top 1 or 2 or 10 or whatever, but he's very, very good. All right, so let's see here. So the idea is if you use Captain Sam, you would give the speed bar to your team quickly. So what that would do is now your team should go early. It's going to change the turn order a decent amount. And that is, I think, definitely an advantage. So you could see here, for example, you are, I think I'll remove there we go. Okay, so we got their 5 level down. That's probably a win right there. And then the idea is that he would keep the team alive. I was supposed to be pointing at Nebula there. That was a mistake. But see, now she's got that ultimate up because of the ability energy. And that's why, I've said elsewhere, the Falcon combo or Falcon Captain Sam combo with Moondragon makes her really strong. So that's something. I will say, by the way, this positioning's off. You probably should have actually Gamora should be next to Captain Sam because she's got the revive. All right. But now once you can get Gamora down, so now we're going to get those evades up. All right, so then this game is pretty much over, right? Game over, I would say. Although, I mean, boy, Captain Sam is close to death. Okay, so Captain Sam is dead now, but the team, there you go. So they've got a distinct advantage here. I have to say, I actually think, he was good, but I'm not really sure he's any better than Kestrel on the team. I think Kestrel with that opening move just as well if you're able to delete the Nebula early on. I think it's more reliable, actually, and faster. Let's try now taking off Captain Sam and doing a totally different character. So I have been talking to a lot of players and getting feedback on players who do not have Adam Warlock, and a lot of them are telling me that they use Sinister. So let's try it. They use Sinister to clone Warlock. And then they get all of the things. The thing to remember here, the reason this may very well be the best option, and we'll test it out right here, is that if you think about it, as long as Sinister doesn't die, Adam Warlock is going to, give you a lot of stuff when he spawns, right? He's going to give you, he's going to give you the, death proof and the safeguard and all that jazz. And his stats really aren't that important as long as he can, give them those bonuses. They get the safeguard and the death proof, and when they drop below the certain percentage, and then as long as he's alive, you still get those 2 turns of stun and or the two characters stunned and the 2 turns of ability block or whatever else. The question is, can your Sinister stay alive long enough to get the clone out there? Now, I will also say I've heard from some players who say that what they've done is they clone Gamora and get 2 Gamoras instead. I think it's a viable strategy. Now what I would do, okay. All right. All right, now we're doing, you can see I'm doing the exact same strategy I taught you in turn 1. Okay. Ooh. Fire level's down. I don't know if this is actually going all that well. Sinister isn't even taking a frickin' turn. Wow, Sinister dies before he gets a turn. Yeah, I think, to me, the strategy with Sinister seems to me like it's much better at lower gear level. So it might work for you, whether you're cloning Sinister or you're cloning Gamora. I could see that working at a certain gear level. I don't think that is necessarily going to work here. I also have to say I haven't really been noticing the benefit here of having a skirmisher on Moondragon. I don't see that here. I will just say I don't see a lot of other characters in my mind as well that are going to work as well as the characters we just mentioned. In other words, you could try to bring Silver Surfer, but I don't think he, for example, brings a lot extra to this team other than focus, which obviously I just don't think they need much more of that. So, we can try it, but I don't see the benefit of it. We can test it out now. That's really the only other character that I could think potentially would be relevant as an opponent. Now, and I will also just say to you, I don't really think this changes the T4s. I've had some players say, hey, I don't have Adam Warlock. Does that change the T4 priority? Not really, in my mind, for the team. You just, obviously, you're going to leave off Adam Warlock because you don't have him. But otherwise, I think, this team is what it is. So let's see. I mean, the problem that Silver Surfer has in my mind is, he can remove the charges from Moondragon, but they all have evades to start. And you're not going to steal anything because they have the safeguard. So you're not going to, your basic is totally nerfed and the charges are removed. So I don't really view him as a viable option. You could really see he doesn't really do much. I mean, he stays alive perfectly well. But, he's just not as impactful. He might take the charge off of Moondragon, but when has that ever decided to fight, right? I mean, that's not the deciding factor here. It's, the deciding factor, other than who has the AI, who's the AI controlled versus human controlled, really the deciding factor is going to be, on the size of certain characters or things like that. So, okay, so we can take out that charge shield, see if we can even do it. It does work, and he gets the ability block there. So I guess there's some value in it, but, I don't really, I view us like kind of, if we win this, it's going to be despite Surfer, not because of him. Yeah, these teams all seem worse to me, with the exception of the Kestrel one. I mean, thus far, now I have a huge Kestrel, so that's part of it. But she does have a go-to move that I think is just better than that can just make the fight shorter, and I think that's better. I think it's better than Captain Sam, better than Sinister and so forth. Sinister, essentially, he's so slow at 100 speed. If he gets slowed as he did against me, he can go down really fast. So, yeah, I'm not very impressed with Silver Surfer either. So, to me, I really think that, I do think that definitely using the Nebula special first is important. Like I said, I do think that you should continue to use the basic rather than the alt of Gamora for the most part. And then I think Adam Warlock is still better than using the hybrid team, and certainly better for defense. But on offense, I do think that Kestrel is a viable option if you do not have Adam Warlock. And by the way, that doesn't mean Adam Warlock sucks. It just means that when you take the best character in the game and you put him on a team, obviously, the best character in the game is going to, be very good. So obviously a huge Kestrel is going to be a decent substitute for Adam Warlock. She makes any team better. All right, guys, if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, check out my Twitch stream. It's linked below. And obviously, if you have any comments, put them below or just go to my Discord. That's linked below. Great discussions there about Arena and other stuff.